In this video, we're going to be simplifying square roots. Okay, so our first problem we have is the square root of 180. How we're going to simplify this is we're going to list out some of our square numbers. 4, that's 2 squared, 9 is 3 squared, 16 is 4 squared, 25 is 5 squared, 36 is 6 squared, 49 is 7 squared, 64 is 8 squared, and we could keep going, but we probably won't need to in this video. But your square numbers keep getting bigger and bigger. All right, so what we're going to do is start with the smallest number on this list and see if it divides into 180. So we look at 180 and we divide by 4. Okay, so it does, which is good for us. So what we can do is write that square root of 180 is actually the same as the square root of 4 times 45. Okay, because 4 times 45 gives us 180. Okay, and then we keep going. We take the 45 and we try to divide it by 4, but I'm not going to do that because I see that this is odd and 4 is even, so that's not possible. So let's go ahead and go to the 9. So let's divide by 9, and it looks like we do go in, and it gives us 5 as an answer. Okay, so what that means is we can rewrite the square root as the square root of 4 times 9 times 5. Okay, now how does that help us simplify? Well, we can use a square root property to separate each one of these products into their own square root. So this would be the square root of 4 times the square root of 9 times the square root of 5. Okay, two of these are going to be nice squares because that's the reason we use these over here. Okay, because the square root of 4 we know is 2. The square root of 9 we know is 3. The square root of 5 is not on this list, so we're just going to leave that as the square root of 5. So we get 6 square root of 5, and that's the same thing as the square root of 180. Now, if you get to the end of the problem and you're wondering if you got it right, well, here's how you can check. Okay, here's the square root of 180 in the calculator. It's this decimal. Okay, it's an irrational number. And then you do 6 times the square root of 5, and you see if you get the same answer. Okay, and we do. That is the check to show that these two are the same, and this is the simplified version. Okay, let's do another one. Do another 3-digit one. So let's do the square root of 245. Okay, so again, we have our list of square numbers, and you don't have to write these out every time if you don't want. Just keep a list of them somewhere. Okay, and we'll start with the smallest one. Now, 245. Again, we know that since 4 is even and this is odd, there's no way 4 can go into this number, so we can skip that. Let's go straight to the 9. Okay, so 245 divided by 9 does not go in. That gives a decimal. Okay, so get rid of that. We're going to skip to 16 because this number is odd. Let's go to the 25, which again, the 25 shouldn't go in either because, if 25 goes into a number, it either has to end in a 25 or 0. Okay, so it's not either one of those, but we can try just to show. There, 9.8, so that doesn't work. Let's move on to 36. 245 divided by 36 doesn't work. 245 divided by 49. There's one that works. Okay, so that tells us that 245 is the same thing as 45 times 9. So I can rewrite this square root of 49 times 5. And then, I think I said that wrong a second ago. Anyway, so we can rewrite this now as square root of 49 times the square root of 5, because 5 is not on that list. Square root of 49 is 7, so we get our answer of 7 square roots of 5. Okay, let's check to see if we got it right. So square root of 245 is that decimal number, and then 7 times the square root of 5 is the same decimal number, so we did indeed get it correct. Okay, let's do a 3-digit or a 4-digit one. So let's do square root of 2,700. Okay, let me write these out real quick. Okay, I don't think we'll need any more than that for this problem. Okay, so let's start with the smallest one. It is divisible by, or it is even, so it might be divisible by 4. Let's find out. 2,700 divided by 4. Yes, okay. So that tells us that 2700 is the same thing as 4 times 675. Okay, since the remaining number is no longer even, we don't have to try these even numbers anymore. We can just use the odd ones. So let's go to the 9. So 675 divided by 9 also goes in, which gives us 75. So this becomes the square root of 4 times 9 times 75. Okay, and you may notice that 75 is divisible by 25. It goes in there 3 times. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Square root of 4 times 9 times 25 goes into 75 3 times. Okay, so now that we got this small number left and it's not divisible by any of these, it's not on the list, then we are done. So we get square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 25, and the square root of 3. Okay, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 3 stays there. So this becomes, let's see, what is this? 6 times 5 is 30. 30 square roots of 3 is the same thing as square root of 2700. And you can check that one in your calculator if you would like. Okay, let's do one final one. Okay, for this one, I have the square root of 3,312. Okay, so here, once again, are my square numbers. All right, so it is even. Let's see if it's divisible by 4. 3312 divided by 4. Yes, it is. Just out of curiosity, let's see if 4 works again. Okay, since 4 worked twice, that means that's the same thing as 16. So let's go back to the beginning and say 3312 divided by, 12 divided by 16, since we know 4 goes in twice. Okay, so let's use 16. It'll make the problem go a little faster. So 16 times 207. Okay, so since this is an odd number, we no longer have to worry about our even square numbers. Let's do our odd ones. So 207 divided by 9 does go in. Okay, so that gives us 23. So we get square root of 16 times 9 times 23, and we're done because 23 would be in here if it was a square number, but it's not. So 23 can't be reduced anymore. All right, so this becomes the square root of 16 times the square root of 9 times the square root of 23, which gives you square root of 16 is 4, square root of 9 is 3, and of course leave 23 there. And that becomes 12 square roots of 23 is the same thing as square root of 3,312.